And even he digs in for money and basically is paying Angel Eyes to not kill him.
Gives him something like $1,000 or something like that.
Yeah. Gives him essentially all of his money. Hoping that it's going to spare his life, but real cold-blooded, like, Angel Eyes tells him, well, this guy paid me to kill you, and I always see a job through. So the guy knows what's coming, and he tries to draw on him, but Angel Eyes does that really cool thing where he shoots upwards through the table. And, kills him. But just the way that scene is shot, there's you get a lot more of what's going on, even though it's not totally in the dialogue, but you understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the blocking of it and having Angel Eyes shoot up through the table, like you said, he was ready for it. The guy didn't really kind of underestimated Angel Eyes and his skills.
I think the victim kind of draws on him out of desperation, where he's like, well, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna at least try, try to do something, and it doesn't end well. And then
he's a killer. Angel Eyes is a killer.
So he puts him down, and then his son comes down with what looks like a rifle, or maybe to try to take down Angel Eyes. And again, very cold-blooded. He just he turns around and shoots the kid without even blinking.
Well, after he kills the guy, he holsters his gun. He stands up, collects the money, and then he hears the movement coming down the stairs, and without even thinking, without even seeing, he draws his weapon, spins around, and shoots the kid as he comes down the stairs. Which is another thing, as I'm telling you that these films blew my mind. Like, you never saw a kid get shot, like in one of the old westerns.
Yeah, that was like a taboo type of thing.
Yeah. We should preface this that the family had two sons. This was the older of the two, not the son that you see in the very beginning on the donkey. But still, shoots maybe a teenager, maybe a little bit younger than that. And then, leaves. Leaves the wife alone, leaves the youngest son alone. And then he goes to see the guy that hired him to kill the first guy. Shows up in his room, talks to him, tells him that he knows, where the gold is, or what name the guy is hiding under. And that's the Bill Carson. And then the guy's really happy for the information and, pays him the money that he owes him. And then Angel Eyes does that thing where he takes the guy's money and says, oh, funny thing, he paid me to kill you. And the guy just kind of laughs it off. But then Angel Eyes gets really serious and tells him that same line that's, well, I always see the job through. And then the guy knows what's happening because he starts pleading for his life. And then, again, like, real brutal, Angel Eyes puts a pillow over his head and shoots. Only instead of shooting, one time, as most people would do to do the job, he shoots him like 3 or 4 times in the face through this pillow. And it's insanely violent.
I think they put like an insert shot of the pillow like still smoking too.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I counted. It's like 4, maybe even 5 shots. Like, one was definitely sufficient to do the job, but instead he just keeps pumping them. And then after that, he's got almost a grin on his face.
Like he enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's insane. So you can see how when I was 10 years old, like, this completely blew my mind that, man, like, these are so much more fucking violent than all those John Wayne westerns I had seen.
And it's important to bring up, I feel like, that when we're introduced to Angel Eyes, it's pretty, it's in the beginning of the film, so all of these things happen back to back, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, and surprisingly, I think Angel Eyes has the least amount of kills in the film. But it's those three, like, pretty violent, pretty brutal kills in the beginning. You know, and he's got the moniker of the bad. Even though he kills less people than both Tuco and Blondie. Lee Van Cleef is awesome in this movie as well. I'm glad he's playing pretty much the opposite of the character that he was in, that he played in For a Few Dollars More. Because even though he was a bounty hunter, he was a good guy, and his motive for going after the main villain in that was definitely warranted. I won't spill the motive because it's pretty good. It's also pretty dark, but it's definitely warranted. But he's still a good guy in the film. Even at the end, when he kind of turns down the bounty, all he wanted was the revenge. He was working as a bounty hunter, but in the end, all he wanted was the revenge. He wasn't interested in the payoff. If I haven't stressed it enough, watch For a Few Dollars More. It's a very good movie, and I think it's severely underrated simply because it's just the middle film in this trilogy.
Going back to Cleef, I really liked his aesthetic in this because it was kind of like he was giving off like kind of like Undertaker vibes with his like his attire. You know, he's in the darker clothes pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, he's in that black getup through the beginning and through the first and the third act, and he's posing as was a captain. Mm-hmm. He's posing as a captain, a Union captain in the prison camp sequence.
He's got the colored eyes, so when they do the close up, it's just like, man, he's really fucking intimidating.
Yeah. And the reason that Leone liked him so much is because he has that kind of distinctive face and that distinctive nose.
Yeah, his features, yeah.
Yeah, kind of looks like a hawk nose. I mentioned High Noon before. He's in High Noon. I don't think he has any lines in High Noon, if I remember correctly. But he's very distinctive in the beginning of that film. And that's where Leone saw him and really wanted to work with him. And that's Leone again, trying to find someone that looks interesting as opposed to finding a good-looking guy. So, once he gets the information that he wants, he puts Tuco on the train to some other prison camp and teams up with Blondie to go after the gold. And as we know, Tuco escapes in another like pretty great, pretty dangerous to shoot scene. I mean, going back to Eli Wallach, like, how many times did he almost get killed doing this movie?
Yeah, especially with the train sequence.
He, I forget when it is, but he drinks the acid by mistake.
Oh, yeah.
the one of the props guys had put acid in an Italian soda bottle, and Wallach thought it was a soda. It was like a kind that he liked, right?
Yeah, I think it was a lime flavor, if I'm remembering correctly. So he's like, yeah, he swooped it up and was like, oh hell yeah! So he pops off the top and takes a chug, and he's like, oh shit, like this isn't soda at all. He consumed at least a little bit of acid, and as we were talking about before, he was very obviously upset, and didn't want to shoot for the rest of the day. And I think they kind of smooth talked him and ordered some milk, and I guess he was able to settle his stomach with the milk, and then they continued to shoot.
Imagine, like, drinking acid and then going about your day.
Yeah. Only Tuco, man. Only.
That's crazy. There's the train sequence. There's the... I'll get into the train sequence in a moment. There's I believe is it the second time that he's about to get hung? Like, the horse takes off?
Yeah, is it the second time?
One of those times where he was about to be hung, and Blondie shoots the rope,
yeah,
and freeing him. But like one of those scenes that they were shooting, the horse gets spooked and takes off, and Eli Wallach's sitting on the horse, but his hands are tied behind his back, so he can't really control anything. He can only just kind of hang on with his feet for dear life.
And yeah, when you watch the scene, the horse is hauling ass.
Yeah.
And apparently it took him like a mile down, down wherever direction they were going, until the horse finally came to a stop.
So that's two. And then the third is the train sequence where he escapes. He's handcuffed to the bigger guy, the one that beats him, who we didn't mention, but at the end of the beating, the guy's pushing his thumbs into his eyes.
Yeah,
like he's gonna crush his eyeballs into his brain. Jesus.
Yeah, it looks pretty brutal because they're really showing it.
So he's handcuffed to that guy. He, makes like he has to take a piss off the side of the train, and then pushes the guy out, and then brains him with a rock. But can't free himself. He's still handcuffed. He tries to shoot, but the gun doesn't work. He tries to hammer it with the butt, and it doesn't work. So the solution he comes up with is he puts the body on the train tracks, lays down next to it, and waits for whatever the next train to come to cut the chain. But, they didn't... This was kind of I don't want to say a low budget, because they had about $1.5 million, which was pretty good money for that time, but, Leone wants to shoot it where this clearly isn't going to be a stuntman. This is clearly Eli Wallach. We're going to do this for real. And even though the train isn't going full speed, it's still doing 30, 40 miles an hour. It's still a train. It'll still definitely kill you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, or at least maim you pretty badly. So he has, Wallach laying on the side of the train tracks, and the train goes over, and Wallach is kind of facing the camera. But as you can see, as the train goes over, like maybe less than a foot of clearance, between his head and the metal stairs on the side of the cars. So if Wallach lifts his head up, he gets decapitated. Yeah,
if you watch the stairs, they're like, he moved like perfectly, but I don't think when he was doing it he had any like he didn't know the immediate danger he was in at the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then apparently,